What if the only thing standing between you and your dreams is the belief that you're not good enough? That invisible barrier, imposter syndrome, is sabotaging your success and dimming your light. In this episode, we'll dive into dismantling self-doubt so that you can finally recognize your inherent brilliance. There's a moment we all know too well. You step into a room you've earned the right to be in, a room you've worked, sacrificed, and pushed for, and yet you feel like an intruder in your own life. You move forward anyway, smile, shake hands, nod confidently, but inside you're thinking, what if they find out I don't really belong here? That's imposter syndrome. That quiet, sneaky whisper that shows up right when you're stepping into something new, right when you're leveling up. You get promoted, and instead of celebrating, you worry. You start a new creative project. Instead of excitement, you constantly question whether anyone will care. You walk into that room full of people, and suddenly you feel like the least interesting person, not only in the room, but on the planet. See, imposter syndrome doesn't always scream. Sometimes it's subtle, a sigh before you press upload, hesitation before you speak up, that instinct to shrink right when you need to stand tall. And here's the part no one tells you. It doesn't show up when you're failing, it shows up when you're growing. And I'm going to say that again carefully because I think that distinction is the very heart of the problem. Imposter syndrome doesn't show up when you're failing, it shows up when you're growing. Self-doubt is not proof that you're not ready, it's proof you're evolving. We talk about fear like it's a sign we should turn back. Maybe it's a sign we are exactly where we need to be. Psychologists have said imposter syndrome is wired into us, part of being human. An ancient protection mechanism that whispers, don't stand out, that's dangerous. Don't get rejected, that could hurt you. Stay safe. That internal monologue is not a flaw, it's not a weakness, it's the brain doing what the brain has always done, trying to protect you from the unknown. But here's the truth the brain forgets. Your life does not expand through safety, your life expands through courage, and courage is not the absence of doubt, it's movement in spite of doubt. If self-doubt were a warning sign you didn't belong, well, the world's greatest achievers would never have made it. You think innovators like Elon Musk never doubted their voice? You think Steve Jobs never questioned his vision? You think athletes like Serena Williams never wondered if she could keep winning? The people you admire are not fearless. Understand that. They're simply unwilling to let fear make decisions for them. They heard the same whispers you do. They just decided, I'm building a life too big for fear to fit inside. And there lies the answer. That exact message is what we must adopt. There's a version of you, and it's sitting on the other side of doubt. That version of you speaks with certainty, it walks with conviction, it builds without hesitation. But that version doesn't appear magically, it's created. Rep by rep, step by step, decision by decision, moment by moment. Imposter syndrome says, please don't fail. But the life you want says, fail forward, because it's the only way you grow. Imposter syndrome says you're not ready. But growth says readiness is a myth. You become ready by trying by showing up over and over again, by taking the next step, even when your voice trembles and your hands shake. Because what if, and really think about this, what if the only thing separating you from the life you want is the courage to believe that you belong in the room you've already walked into? What if the difference between you and the ones you admire is that they kept going when their doubt tried to stop them? See, your adversaries are one in the same. It's just that they found opportunity amidst the obstacles, right? Every transformation begins with a moment of discomfort. Every chapter starts with uncertainty. Every dream demands a price, and that price is stepping into spaces before you feel prepared. That's just the truth. That's the way things go. You never feel ready. So here's your reminder that you don't need permission or unanimous approval. You don't need every voice to cheer you on. You need one voice, yours. So say to yourself, I belong here. Maybe not because you feel it yet, but because you're willing to grow into it. And that's the entire point. Doubt questions who you are. Growth challenges who you can become. Today, choose growth. Walk into those rooms, speak your truth, take the leap, start the thing, claim your space. Not because you have no doubt, but because your purpose is bigger than your fear. And one day when someone looks at you and says, "How did you become so confident?" you'll smile, remember all the moments you doubted yourself, and say, "I didn't wait to feel ready. Instead, I built the person who was." Hey gang, Eddie here. So I've been building something alongside your world within. It's called AGNS, Always Grateful, Never Satisfied. If you've been listening to the podcast, you know exactly what that's referring to. That duality of appreciating the present moment, but also not being afraid to ask the world for more, for diving fully into your potential. And I'd love for you to be a part of this journey as we build and build and build. I have a free newsletter, agnsnewsletter.com, where you'll get daily motivation, monthly challenges, as well as updates on all the exciting things we have coming around the corner. So if you're so inclined and you'd like to be part of this journey, I'd be honored for you to sign up. Link will be below. Look forward to seeing you there. On that long drive, in the middle of the night with headlights and endless road in front of me, everything I knew in the rearview mirror, I learned the value of making the difficult decision. During the times of disappointment, being let down by the ones I counted on, I believed in, I learned the importance of loyalty, the power of being there for those who mean the most to you. Through the failures, the stress, the uncertainty, I learned that life goes on. That when you allow yourself to fall, you build an immunity to the fear associated with hitting the ground. You get back up stronger. Through the heartbreak, the loss, the pain, I learned to appreciate every moment. To look around and not take any of this for granted. To both recognize and appreciate the fragility of the present, because with the snap of a finger, life can change. In the wake of past anger and conflict, I learned to pick my battles. That rarely is it worth my time. That our vantage points are merely a reflection of our backgrounds and understandings, and even the slightest effort
To understand the person staring back at you can be the difference between building up and tearing down. From being overlooked, disregarded, the smallest person in the room, I learned the value of true leadership. The benefit of empowering those around you and making them feel appreciated. That walking alone may sometimes be necessary, but that building a vision that those around you believe in is unparalleled. Life is a teacher, and only through its toughest tests can its curriculum be understood, can its ideas and lessons take shape. What you need exists so long as you open your eyes, and you'll find an inevitable truth that this universe, it wants you to win. It's holding its hand out, providing you everything you need. Just understand. Understand that the lows prepare you for the highs. The losses set up the gains. The mistakes build a foundation for the greatest things you will ever do. Life is a teacher. And should you listen, you'll see that it has no bounds, no restrictions, just the next chapter. Strong enough is all life asks of us. Strong enough to carry on. Strong enough to take an uncertain step forward. Strong enough to be better than we were yesterday. Everything starts with strong enough. The decision to make a single move towards an existence that is not yet yours. Not yet. But it's arguable that understanding it could be yours is a greater accomplishment than making it so. As the old Latin proverb states, once you've started, you're halfway there. Halfway, not because you found a shortcut or some previously undisclosed path, but because convincing yourself that you have everything you need is the greatest barrier to entry. It's the wall around the castle, and once you scale that, well, everything else works itself out with time. But life asks that we be strong enough to start the clocks. It asks that we have the strength to begin. See, because just as things start with strong enough, well, they could just as easily find their end there as well. How many journeys weren't started because we forgot that our responsibility wasn't to suddenly arrive at the destination, but rather find the courage to take a small step in that direction? How much of ourselves do we leave on the shelf because we forgot that transformation overnight wasn't the goal, but rather a trust in the process? The heart to paint a first stroke, make a first call, walk out the door strong enough can be an ending or a beginning. It's a fire that can enhance, it can nourish, or it can burn out. And that is perhaps the greatest question of our lives when the time approaches. When life demands more of us, will we only see the finish line, the mountaintops, the vastness of the terrain? Will we feel small and inadequate? Or will we remember that we are strong enough to advance, to push back against the chaos of life? And that's not only all that's required of us, but it's the key to everything worth doing, the start of transformation, the seeds of beauty, the foundation of impact. That is our challenge, where some bow down to the impossible. You have to see it for what it is, the many possibilities that comprise it, the hope, the understanding that an improved existence is about having the strength not to change reality in one foul swoop, but to carry on, to take another step and see that as time unfolds, those steps become the blueprint to a better tomorrow. Those steps, that courage, that strength is everything you'll ever need. Why is it that the average person seeks out the advice of what feels like a million people before consulting himself? Knocking, looking, hoping. Is he looking for answers? Or looking for permission to be who he already knows he is? Is he looking for insight or just validation that his reflection is in fact okay? See, I think we all deep down know who we are, know what drives us. And even if we don't know exactly what the destination looks like, our hearts know the direction best suited to begin the pursuit. So how is it so easy to forget? Why do we get our antennas crossed? See, when life becomes about meeting requirements and fulfilling obligations, checking off boxes and checking in on time, we forget the basics. We forget to live for ourselves, as if our job is to play a part, not direct the movie. And playing a part is living up to expectations. Directing the movie, well, that's creating your own expectations. This world, your world, it belongs to you. It's a world with both unimaginable happiness, bliss, moments of ecstasy, and the occasional suffering, chaos that we have to navigate through. But I think all of it comes down to whether you trust yourself to live it for yourself. To remove the shackles, take the training wheels off, stop asking permission, and do what you've always known was the right thing. That part never changed. It just had to wait amidst all your looking for external direction, for you to pause and find the internal courage. Freedom is not a life without chaos. It's trusting yourself to determine which dragons you will slay. It's not a life without battles, but fighting those battles that result in your liberation, dismissing the oppressors that build fences in your mind and chains around your soul. I've thought a lot about the idea of a life well lived, what it means, how it feels, and it seems to me it's about intentionality. Where are you going? It's not that you can escape suffering or eliminate fear. It's not that you'll avoid getting lost along the way, but it's the why. Why we endure these things makes all the difference. Is it for a better tomorrow or simply to get through today? And it's amazing, accidentally stumbling upon that which scares you and intentionally facing that which scares you are so different that their occurrences trigger completely different neural networks in the brain. See, overcoming fear is ingrained in us. We want to grow. We want to evolve. We need more. The question is whether you will step out of the line that someone else made for you and live a life that is your own. And if it's crazy, great. Let it be crazy. If it's unique, perfect. Stand out. And if it scares you, my God, if it scares you, don't turn back. Don't you dare turn back. Give yourself the most important permission one can give, the permission to follow your intuition and your curiosity into tomorrow. Let the stakes be higher. but the rewards be meaningful. Let the chaos be your own to tame and to master. Every twist, every turn becomes not only a part of you, but a chapter in the story of your becoming. And as the seed you've held in your hand for so long finally meets the earth and grows so high that it connects you to the heavens, remember that this is your life. It's your obligation to live it fully. While the world slept, I stayed awake. I guess I couldn't bear to close my eyes and drift off into a dream, knowing that as soon as they opened, it would end. I sat up, I put my goals and aspirations into the backpack next to my bed, threw it over my shoulder, and I left. Destination unknown. But I was armed with the belief that opportunities exist wherever you bring them to life. So while the world slept, I stayed awake. There comes a point when dreaming takes the form of an adversary. I didn't want to wake up and see the discrepancy between fantasy and reality. I didn't want to be associated with wishing or hoping or crossed fingers. See, the beauty of life is that it always provides the necessary pieces to put your puzzle together so long as your eyes remain open. So while the world slept, I stayed awake. As the mind lays dormant, so does opportunity. As the ideal life remains imaginary, so does the action needed to build it. The best way to find answers is simply to look for them. A folded up map hidden away in your desk, it suggests a million possibilities. Proposes an endless journey, but until you grab it, open your door and step outside, it will never truly take you there. I wanted to feel the wind on my face, the sand on my feet, and even the most adventurous souls in the world don't have time to see everything, to experience it all. Time is the most precious of commodities. So while the world slept, I stayed awake. The secret is not in opening your eyes, it's in what you allow your eyes to see. It's easy to live while being asleep, to completely disregard or walk right by the advantages, the opportunities, the pieces that we can reach out and use to shape our lives. Look, it's not about being right or wrong. It's about trading what you kind of want for what you really want. It's about walking down your street and viewing every single thing in front of you as perfection, as the stars aligning as the perfect ingredients to create whatever you choose. Leave nothing for sleep. Let your dreams envy your reality. And while the rest of the world sleeps, I dare you to stay awake. I dare you to get everything you've ever wanted. There are no wrong turns in life. What do I mean by this? Well, our problem is often not that a mistake was made, but rather we didn't see the value in that quote-unquote mistake. We stop, we lose faith, we question ourselves, even though we actually got what we needed. It was there. We just couldn't see it in the moment. And so the question is, why look for what you don't have? Why always be searching for the delta when every decision hands you something new, something powerful? Almost like we're walking on this path, and every time we do something, not necessarily the perfect thing or the thing we drew up, but something. As long as we do something, we get to put a brick down, another step to walk on in the path before us. We get to expand in some way. We're wiser, stronger, capable of more. And where sometimes we think we need to wait for that perfect brick, to take that perfect step. But if we can get beyond that and focus our attention on just getting more bricks out in front of us, we allow the answers to materialize. The question is, will you let them? And you take this podcast, for example, right? Just to be where I'm at right now has been a roller coaster ride. Started out 5 days a week, wake up, write an episode at 5 a.m. for 100 episodes, and then I tried the weekly interview, and then it was a few days a week, and then back to 5 days, and then I realized I didn't even need to create new content. If I take the YouTube stuff and make that the podcast as well, I get 10 times the result with less work. That's like a content creator's dream, and I can focus on making that one thing amazing. And so it's easy to look at the whole process and say, man, those 5 a.m.s were a mistake. They were a waste, right? That decision to interview once a week was a waste. All that fluctuation was a waste. That's not true. You don't realize how much you learn. I don't get where I am today without scrambling at 5 a.m. to create content that is not what it is now, right? Just like a year from now, I won't be where I am without the mistakes I make today. So the goal is not to be perfect. In fact, it can't be. It's to allow yourself to make those mistakes because they have the answers contained within them. And that's my point, is that, I found the greatest outcomes are derived from not always trying to do the right thing, but rather promising yourself you'll do something. When you expect to look like a fool, you can then relish in all the wisdom that comes with it, right? Those wrong turns, they'll always take you where you need to be if you don't abandon the journey. That's what it's about, sticking with it, not abandoning why you're there. There's a saying that really stuck with me, and it's that you are your own experiment. Meaning life isn't about getting it right. Life is about trying and pushing and adjusting and eliminating the things that aren't quite you, until you're able to refine the world around you. And I make that distinction because getting it right implies that if the answer you're looking for or the answer you think you need doesn't fall right into your lap, then it's a loss, or you've done yourself a disservice. And it's like, no, the greatest things we create, the greatest things we become, they're all derived from embracing those wrong turns because they show us something new, a new route, a quicker way, maybe a scenic path. Maybe you pick things up along the way that redefine the context of the whole journey. Maybe you even find in your detour a destination better than the one you were headed towards. Right? So you cut ties with plan A. That's experimentation, that's growth, that's what you cannot be scared to do in life if you want to make an impact. And so I'll end with this: life, it doesn't stop until you do, and that will always be the case. For pursuits big and small, far and wide, the right thing isn't found, but discovered by willingly undertaking many wrong things, by not being so results-oriented that we, ironically enough, ignore what brings the result. Life is a process, and one in which the picture isn't always clear right away. But if you hang in there long enough, if you're willing to adapt and adjust and grow, that picture ultimately will take shape. Remember, there are no wrong turns in life. Only turns not taken. there are always barbarians at the gate. And I mean this in the sense that the second we give less than our best, the second we let up, it's not just that we allow the important things to fade. No, we let the outside world infiltrate our existence. In The History of Civilizations by Will Durant, he said something that I found incredibly interesting. He's talking about the fall of the Assyrian Empire, and he says barbarism is always around civilization, amid it and beneath it, ready to engulf it by arms or mass migration or unchecked fertility. Barbarism is like the jungle. It never admits its defeat. It waits patiently to recover the territory it has lost. See, in those civilizations Durant speaks of, they knew they were always living with the threat of an attack by outside forces that oppose it, knowing that calm and quiet wasn't the rule, but the exception to the rule. And in its weakest moments, it crumbles. In fact, Durant says societies are born stoic and they die Epicurean, right? Created from discipline, but fall apart when people take what they have for granted, when pleasure and leisure become the standard. It's almost like society is a submarine keeping out the ocean of human nature, constantly putting pressure on it, right? And why does this matter? Well, this is what's interesting. Compare it to this idea that I found in Jim Rohn's collection of lectures, where he's talking about life's concessions. He says even small compromises with regard to your goal matter. Giving in, even a little bit, can be dangerous. Saying, oh, it's just one time, is a wolf in sheep's clothing. Because it begins the process of the downfall. Plants a seed, it cracks the door for those barbarians waiting patiently outside the gate. The ones who know discipline is not guaranteed. Discipline is built, manufactured, it must be protected. It is the exception to the rule, and they are chomping at the bit. Given the slightest opportunity, they will bring it to ashes. And this matters because it's up to you to protect that which is worth protecting. You ever have one of those days or weeks that are insanely productive or enjoyable and you just think, this is great, I need to do more of this, I need to sustain this. And then time goes by, the outside world sneaks in, and the prospect of continuing that routine slips away, crashes, because parameters were not created, because you let it slip once. And once doesn't mean you'll pick up where you left off. No, once is whispering to your subconscious that it's okay to concede. It says, oh, it's all right, I'll stray from my path just for the important things. I'll only crack the door for the barbarians when I need to. But now you're in an interesting situation. How do you measure when it's important enough to quit or stop or cheat? And trust me, I understand that life is complex. It's not black and white, but the areas we grow the most are the same areas where we leave no room for negotiation. X, Y, or Z is going to happen because it is who you are. And that door, it stays shut to the outside world, the mediocrity telling you your plans don't matter, to the barbarians outside looking for any excuse to infiltrate or destroy. And see, the point is not to avoid fun or leisure or the enjoyment of life. No, of course not. What I'm advocating is that we highlight the aspects of life that are non-negotiable, the things that mean a lot and are therefore subject to the ever-reaching arm of retreat. You don't have to do this, the barbarians will tell you. Once isn't the end of the world, but what life shows us is that greatness isn't one crazy or monumental action. It's keeping the intruders out where they must be restrained, remaining diligent in one's pursuit towards something more. Yes, there are always enemies at the gate, but there is also within you the ability to keep them in check, to tame them, to differentiate between your world and theirs. And in your life, your world, your empire, you are the gatekeeper. keeper.